soul to soul, soul to soul.
Welcome to our show, Soul to Soul Talk Show. Today we have a guest with us. Her name is Sister Carol. She's born in South Africa and she's been practicing Rajyoga meditation since 28 years. Welcome to the show, Sister. So tell us something about your family background.
Family background, it finished a long time ago, in a sense, 28 years ago, when I came to the Brahma Kumaris. I was living in Australia, actually, and I felt a lot missing from my life. And, you know, in the West, broken families are a common thing. And I didn't have a father at that time, and my father was living in England. And I thought that I would go and look up my father because there were so many unanswered questions. I felt such emptiness. And the way of life in Australia was that we had a lot of fun. You know, we found ourselves in the pubs often, we did different things, but it just led us to emptiness. And so I wondered why I had this experience, and I thought, if I go and look up my father, maybe it will bring some light, maybe some answers will come, but what's to lose in going to try? So I set off, and a friend suggested that I come via India. And then I arrived at the Brahma Kumaris. And the knowledge I got here and the meditation experiences I had showed me what was missing in my life. And I felt that I'd found my father, actually. So my search stopped, and then a new kind of search started. And that new kind of search was more about my own fulfillment, my own life's progress, the meaning of my life, how I could contribute to this world. And so slowly, slowly I started filling up, and now I'm a very happy person. Yeah. My mother, she lives in Australia still. She's very happy that I've taken this life. I thank her very often for giving me the freedom to do so, because mothers very often put a lot of pressure on particularly I'm an only daughter, to have more children or get married, but she's been very good. She's been also happy for me, and that's been helpful.
Were you inclined towards a religion?
Not really. Particularly in Australia, it wasn't really very cool to be religious or to believe in God, and you know, it didn't make any sense to me that there was so much suffering in the world. And in fact, I was suffering so much in many ways. I had a beautiful life externally. It was a lovely life to be brought up in Perth. But how could a benevolent God exist and there be so much suffering in the world? So how could one believe in that? It doesn't make sense. No. So I didn't believe in God at all. I called myself an agnostic. Prove to me and then I'll believe. Now I have enough proof, if I may say. I've understood that it's got nothing to do with God, the suffering in the world. It's our doing. And the reason it's become like that is because we ourselves are causing harm to each other, to ourselves, to the planet. And the only way the planet's going to change is if we change. That, of course, is the basic tenet of the Brahma Kumaris. Yeah.
Tell us something about your academic life.
I went to university in London, actually, because I continued my journey after India to London anyway. And I did a master's degree in arts management. That took me, I did some work in the arts in London, a little bit of work in film. I was a production coordinator. I also was a music production coordinator and was often involved in theatre and quite an exciting life. Actually, I was a yogi and also going out to work. So I had the best of both worlds for some time. And then I changed course and I went into IQ, an IQ society, Mensa International. This was founded because a group of Oxford students believed that people should come together and use their high intelligence for the benefit of humanity. In fact, it became a society. It was a very good experience. And then I moved into emotional intelligence and started working with people about how they feel emotionally and how that affects their personality and their behavior. When I was working as an IQ representative, I thought, emotional intelligence, it doesn't make any sense. And then as I explored it, I realized that because emotions don't have intelligence, so emotional intelligence is an oxymoron. But in fact, it's more common sense on how to behave with each other. And we've lost that ability because the world has become so negative. So I moved into this world and then eventually became an executive consultant and had the privilege of working with some executives in Mumbai and Delhi in some big companies with another consultant who's actually the expert in this field. I was learning through him. And so I've had some good experience in this, in India particularly, where actually people are more emotionally intelligent in India than they are overseas, I have to say, because it's been kept through the ages. And it's something they understand when you talk to Indians about it. It makes a lot of sense. Yes.
Were you emotionally weak when you were young?
Yeah, definitely. That's why I had this emptiness. I was also very shy. If I talked to more than two people at once, my face would go red and I'd stutter and I would be very embarrassed. And when you start to fill up from the inside, as I was saying before, it becomes very easy to just be yourself. And when you are yourself, you don't think so much about my appearance, my image, and it comes naturally. And that's because we have this inner strength.
Did your friends take you for granted emotionally?
If I understand the question correctly, it means that the relationships that I had with my friends before were built upon what I had, what I could offer, what I wore, how cool I was, and very much about the appearance. And also the friendship, you know, you do this for me and I'll do this for you. You know, you have to be friends with me but not with them. You have to hang out with this group but not with that group. And then now the opposite is true. We have very sweet relationships with everyone. There's no such barriers, there's no such expectations. I think friends have a lot of expectations on each other and of course disappoint each other all the time. Right. Whereas here we all understand that we're on a path, a progress. And that, you know, sometimes we fall. Sometimes I'll fall today, you may fall tomorrow. Sometimes I may get angry today, you may get angry tomorrow. But we forget it very quickly. It's not the real them. It's not the authentic self that we're seeing. It's some conditioning we've picked up on the way. But it'll go. And we have best wishes for each other. So nowadays, the emotional aspect is of very pure feelings. It's not tied to emotions that go up and down. It's constant, and we're developing those constant feelings with each other.
So people who are depressed, who are emotionally weak, they tend to drink alcohol, or they start going to pubs, bars, they try to smoke. So was that a case with you? They try to suicide and they think that they are good for nothing. So was that thing with you even?
I think it's not a general prototype. It's not a general condition of young people overseas, but I have to confess it was with me. I was actually an alcoholic by the time I was 23. I also smoked heavily because I was so empty. I was like a vacuum that needed to be filled. I'm not I'm not typical, by the way, but you just happened to ask that question. So, and when I came here, they said none of that is allowed, and I just stopped overnight. Now I live in a community where a lot of people are smoking and drinking. It's part of the lifestyle and the culture.
Yeah, obviously.
There is an emptiness inside nowadays with a lot of people. They don't know how wonderful it is to be free from that. You know, even I was addicted to food as well. And this was all coming because I used to feel that I wasn't worthy. You know, somewhere inside I really felt inadequate. I wasn't any good. If people knew what I was really like, they would think I would be terrible. So I was always hiding behind this facade of prettiness, of trying to show that, you know, that I'm okay, I'm good. But inside, if they ever find out who I really am, they won't like me. It's terrible. You know, I was a lovable person, but I didn't see that. And gradually, as my self-esteem started to fill up, these desires and needs, need for approval, need to consume something, to fill this emptiness, it all went away. A lot of people are eating because of addiction, because of this emptiness inside. And it's so wonderful to be free in the mind from these addictions, from these experiences. I can't tell you how nice it is to be free, not to think about it. And you know, my friends are smoking, drinking, doesn't matter. I'm not even pulled slightly, no interest. I'm so far beyond that.
So you don't regret that you left smoking and drinking?
At all. I thank God that I left that. That, you know, the strength was given to me that I could leave it. It was a process. It didn't happen. I mean, it happened, the alcohol and the smoking and all that happened overnight, but the food took longer because you still have to continue to eat. And I still had this neediness. It took some time, but it did change. And, you know, we all have a little addiction somewhere. It may be a more subtle addiction to name and fame, for example, or an addiction to what people think of me, or to some, you know, to cats. It can be anything really. And we need to change this because all these things pull the mind, and the mind goes over and over and over again on the same subject, and it's so tiring and it pulls our energy away. So we all want to be free from this.
So when you were young, did anyone try to betray you when you were emotionally weak, when your confidence was low, when you were full of emptiness? Did anyone try to take advantage of you?
I think that, you know, I was very pretty when I was young. And one of the signs of being weak is that we become very nice to everyone and want to please everyone. So, yes, at that age, there were men who came along, boyfriends, who would, you know, of course, try to seduce me because they saw my weakness. Fortunately, I'd been brought up with values. I was always saying things like, I don't want to do anything before I'm married. You know, and they always used to call me very old-fashioned. But I really believed in those values. Thank goodness. I think they really saved me. And it was because of these values that actually I ended up in India, still searching for meaning and for understanding. In fact, it was this reason that I began to search for my father, because I felt I was very naive where men were concerned, and all these men being so nice to me, and I was thinking that they were being nice to me because I'm nice, and because I was showing that I was nice, but actually they were wanting something from me. And I kept falling for it again and again and again, and I thought, what's wrong with me? Maybe it's because I didn't have a father that, you know, this is happening to me. So perhaps if I go and look him up, this naivety will go and I may gain some more confidence in my life. Yes, and look at me, I have all these addictions and I'm a mess. So I have to stress, you don't have to reach this state before you start doing meditation, by the way, but this was my story. Yeah.
Or were your relatives and your friends good with you when you didn't have your father?
Yes, mine is an unusual story because I'm the only daughter of an only daughter. So I have no brothers, cousins, uncles, aunts, and my grandmother died early. So in fact, there's only my mother and me. So I can say that, you know, considering that is the circumstance for my mother to give me this freedom, she has been very kind. You know, she lives in Australia, I live here, she hardly sees me, but thanks to Skype, we can keep in touch. But yes, for that I'm very grateful, and I thank her a lot for that. And you know, you tend to change your friends afterwards because you don't enjoy the same things. You don't find the same enjoyment in just sitting around gossiping or talking about other things. It can be very boring. So I was looking more for having a meaningful life, doing something worthwhile, having meaningful conversations, interesting conversations. Yeah.
So, as you told, you worked in a production house and you started meditating in a very young age. So, did meditation help you in your professional life?
Definitely. You know, I had an interesting experience on January the 1st, New Year's Day. I went to Pinewood Film Studios and the place was completely empty. And we went into an editing room there, yet I could still feel the tension and the vibration of stress in the whole place. That was a real learning experience for me because I realized even the walls were keeping this energy and the atmosphere was still there. And I could really tangibly, I could say almost tangibly, notice it. When I saw the impact of just the atmosphere alone, and I meditated on that day to really, just in the room we were in, to change the vibration of the room. And I realized, you know, in this business particularly, there is a lot of stress and how it affects and influences each other particularly, but how the walls even contain it in this industry because there's a lot of competition, there's a lot of deadlines, there's a lot of money involved. And you know, you make one mistake and shoo, you're out because there's so many people waiting to take your place. Very high stress, but yes, I was able to keep that, and also my team in that vibration and that a sense of fun. Actually, it keeps you in a sense of fun because when there's stress and this nervousness, all the fun goes out of it. And you would expect that in the film business it would be a lot more fun to work in that business. But in fact, so many people are stressed that it kind of spoils it. And it doesn't need to. It can be fun. And yes, we used to enjoy ourselves a lot more. And that's really thanks to meditation. In fact, I developed a new name. I was in Calcutta and I got a nickname in Calcutta called Leela. And now many of my friends call me by this name. I love this name because we were looking for music recordings, and it was for a documentary, a BBC documentary. And wherever we went, we happened to find the most amazing bhajans being sung, or at the Ghats, this wonderful singer doing his puja, and I mean his cleansing and things. And so the guide who was taking us around said, "I think you have some luck," he said. You're like Leela, like everywhere we go, something is happening. And it was a new crowd then, so I liked this name and decided to keep it. After that, the group I was with, we were part of this film City of Joy that was taking place at that time. It was a wonderful experience, and how, you know, when you are in a peaceful state and very, very much open to what life is going to bring you, these opportunities come. And this is why I took this name as a nickname. For me, it's my personally adopted spiritual name, if I'm allowed to have one. But yes, this was the point, that life really generates good opportunities when you're in the right state of mind and when you're open to those possibilities.
We had a very nice experience with you. You shared a very nice experience with us, and we are going to continue your life's journey in the next episode about how you started practicing Rajyoga meditation. So, thank you, sister. Have a nice day.